have as many that may be coming today, so I would like to convene the meeting of December 12th, 2011 delegation meeting, and if everyone would stand and we would pledge the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and good morning for being here. I just want to do a few things before I open it up to the public. Is that this is the meeting where the commissioners will present to us their budget. I would appreciate it if the members have, if the delegation members have questions, if you would write those down and keep them for when we start our budget proceedings, which will be probably the end of January, 1st of February. This is questions for the public for us to be able to see. This budget is what the commissioners have sent down to DRA on the MS 46, which they were required to do for before the 1st of December. So the other thing that will happen is if there is any discussion that will be happening on the events at the jail or any issues that are regarding the jail security, we will go into non-public. I will ask to go into non-public for security reasons, and I think that as the commissioner has told me, he has gone into non-public in commissioners' meetings to be able to do that, and I think it's important. So with that, I would like to open up the discussion to the public, and is there any public input? Are you all satisfied, or you just, yes, I was going to say, come on, you can't quite do this. Yeah,
just
okay.
Go on, Betsy.
Yeah. Susan Wiley.
Susan Wiley from Sandwich, and thank you for this opportunity. And I know that all of our representatives are overwhelmed with very much work to do, but I would like to call attention to the fact it appears in this budget that there are many more things we could do in our House of Corrections with mental health. And we know that recidivism is a big problem in New Hampshire. It's a big problem across the country. And I will give you all a document as I leave, but I want to say that there's a study that was done on the repeat offenders, and it was done by the New Hampshire Department of Corrections, and it looked at the 1,200 folks who had been released from state prison in 2006. Many people who have attended the commissioners' meetings on Wednesday have listened to Jason talk about the number of people who have returned, and the number just gets bigger and bigger. There's some, on occasion, people who have been in for 6 or 8 times in the last 3 years. I listened one day to someone who's been more than 14 times. It's not only the cost to corrections, but it's the cost to the court system. It's that time and commitment. Some numbers from that study tell us that within 3 years, 90% of those males have returned. 90% of the folks that have returned are males, 10% are females. The average male age is 34. The average female age is 35. The reoffending males are 48.5%, and the reoffending females are 51.9%. The highest repeat offenders are between the ages of 17 and 19. 83.3% of those folks between the ages of 17 and 19 who come out of state prison come back. The next highest number is those the ages of 20 to 25, and that number is 55.9%. The average length of time they stay in the community before they reoffend is 9.6 months. 90% of those people who reoffend in less than 2 years. We've talked a lot in corrections about habitual offenders. We've talked in the court system about habitual offenders. And we need to continue those conversations. What needs to change? I would like to think that we would look at programming, education, counseling and therapy, and encouraging and empowering our youth. Consider this budget carefully. We need not less mental health as is in this budget. We did not, last year, for much of the year, we did not have a psychiatric nurse available. It's my understanding in this next budget that we propose we have a psychiatrist for 12 hours a month. We have a contractual arrangement with Northern Human Services for 8 hours a week. When you're sitting in your seats in Concord and cutting education programs, dropout prevention programs, parenting programs, community resource centers, community resource programs, and mental health programs, you might think that you're saving money, and you are on a line on a piece of paper. Those programs that you cut are essential to very many people in Carroll County. Those programs that you cut, those services will end up, we'll pay for it one place or another, and likely it will be in court and corrections. When you're sitting here looking at budget constraints and responding, hopefully, to the need to rehabilitate many of our young folks, we know a lot about brain development now that we didn't know 10 and 12 years ago. We know that the frontal lobe in the brain is not fully developed in most cases until people are 25 years old. We have impulsive folks. They're not committing violent crimes. They're committing crimes that are fed by alcohol and drug problems, that are fed by the fact that they have not had what they need. They're self-medicating in many cases. When I listen to Superintendent Johnson talk about programs for education and training, programs that our farm manager has offered to cooperatively work with inmates to give them some training and some work experience, they sound like the answer to me. I don't know what we're missing, but we can't just take people, put them in jail, tell them to change their clothes, I'll wear the same clothes, I'll eat the same food, and expect them to come out fixed up. We need to work on programs within the jail. And I say there is a wonderful study, and I know you all have much to read, but it's worth reading. The Declining Impact of Incarceration on Crime and a Strategy for Safety and Savings. It's a corrections program. It was done by the Pew Center on the State's Report. It was released in 2006, I believe. It's on the web, and it's a very useful tool, I believe, to save the taxpayers' money in Carroll County. Repeat offenders, and Jason can talk to this much better than I can, repeat offenders need help. If you break a leg and you go to emergency services, they don't put a sling on it and send you home. They send you to someone who can decide what is best for you. Mental health is no different. We can't lock people up, recognize they have a problem, and not do a thing about it. And thank you, and I hope you will see to reinstate some of that mental health money back into this budget, and also support the many other programs that come before you in Concord, especially community mental health, that continually gets slashed because it's easy to do. Thank you.
Is there any other public input? Yes.
Oh, just a quick thing. Damon Steer, Conway Sun. I just wanted to give you guys a reminder that to go back into public session if you're going to discuss the jail budget, as opposed to just the security.
I just want you to know that if there are security issues, what I said, if there are security issues that come up, Regarding the jail or the sheriff or the overall administration building, the delegation and the commissioners will go into non-public. Of course, we have to come out of non-public. We go into non-public, we come out of non-public. I do not know if any of those issues will come up today, but I do know that if they do, we will go into non-public, but we will be back out of it.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions on input? Okay.
I had the weekend to go over the budget. A couple of things are a bit striking. I think someone in this room, whether it's on the delegation or the commission, needs to request an audit from DHHS on the DEAS line. I mean, it's a 20% increase. I don't see a 20% increase in the number of Medicaid residents at the nursing home. I don't see a 20% increase in the amount of Medicaid being paid for Medicaid residents at the nursing home. I think they need to justify that increase. And we need to ask them to do that. On the overall budget, I'm a little confused about why it was submitted the way it was, with such a dramatic increase in the tax rate, given the track that you're currently on for revenue and expenses, and given the amount of money that's at hand for paying it down. So I think it's going to be a rather easy game for you to go through the budget in January and come up with the $2 million or $2.4 million that has been put onto the increase of taxes. That said, it's nice that Kathy Gary included everything back to 2008 in the budget that you have in hand, because you can start to compare the numbers going forward and what we've done. But the nursing home, for instance, was running a deficit of $2.2 million, a little over $2.2 million in 2008, and we pretty much cleaned that up. But I think all of the low-hanging fruit is pretty well been picked. So the other discussion that I would encourage you to have, and given the fact that Carroll County spends less than any other county in county government, is perhaps looking at the position of an administrator. I'm wondering whether or not some of the issues, for instance, on the health insurance, the DEAS issues, labor contracts, that sort of thing, might be better served with if you did look into having an administrator.
It is true, there, in all the other counties, there is a county administrator that is underneath the commissioners. We do not have that. We have Kathy Gary as finance. Our other Kathy is payroll and invoices, and then Laurie is our overall, I think, receptionist, and if I'm wrong on those.
Our HR person, Robin Reed, is doing a lot of that work too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure he was talking about a county administrator.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
That's what I was talking about.
And Robin does an awful lot of that too. Excuse me, Robin. I know she does a lot of work. So is there any further input? If not, now I would like to go into approval of minutes. I think we have 3 sets. And Karen, do we have, can you give me those numbers, dates?
Yeah. I only have
2? Okay.
October 3rd and November 14th.
And November 14th. Okay, those are 2. I'm sure that everyone has received those. Are there any discussion that you would like to have on any of them? Yes, Representative Babson.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Madam Chairman, it was pointed out to me by an individual that, not in the minutes, but it's on the tape, that I stated that in the last meeting that Representative McCarthy wanted a tractor, and it was pointed out that it was just a suggestion.
Oh, okay.
Which one of those?
Can you tell us where you're doing it?
I said it isn't in the minutes, it's on the
the
tape,
tape.
and I didn't know where else to put it.
Okay.
And that I said something about that was micromanaging. I still think it is, but the individual didn't think that I should have said wanted. He was suggested.
Okay, so thank you. I don't, if we want to make a note in the minutes of today, is that Representative McCarthy suggested a tractor, not wanted